There's gotta be another way out. I've been stuck in a cage with my doubt. I've tried forever getting out on my own. Every time I do this my way, I get caught in the lies of the enemy. I lay my troubles down, I'm ready for you now. Bring me out, come and tell me in the dark now. Every day by myself I'm breaking down. I don't wanna fight alone anymore. Bring me out, from the prison of my own pride. My God, I need a hope I can't deny. In the end I'm realizing I was never meant to fight on my own.
Alright everyone, it's your boy Kane Otsutsuki here, and Kane Otsutsuki here, and today I'm here with another new What If, and then I'm making part 2, and then I'm going to redo, or I guess re-upload a What If I uploaded to YouTube yesterday. Then I'm going to do part 2 of What If of Narusasu, and no Sasanaru, okay? Now, y'all might be thinking, wait, you did a what if yesterday? There was nothing. Actually, yesterday, 15 hours ago, I made a what if which only 7 people, other than myself of course, have seen. The reason because of this, no, it's not because no one wants to watch it. It's because it is heavily copyrighted and you can only watch it in very, very, very certain areas because of the intro. The problem with the intro is that apparently having Boruto in a video, having videos containing Boruto in them in a video actually can get you copyrighted. But I don't know why they didn't copyright my other videos with my old intro. I don't. But anyways, let's get this what if started. Now, this title is What If Deku Had a Yandere. I'm going to make another part of What If Naruto had a Yandere, so do not worry, okay? Don't worry. As this is going to be completely new, something I don't think anyone has ever done before. This will basically be, well, yeah, find out for yourself. Zuka Midoriya is a average kid, quirkless, and he's 20% of people who are quirkless, and instead of being a hero, of trying to become a hero, because he already knows that his fate, if he becomes a hero, is to be bullied and thrashed around to be at least one of the weakest heroes of all time. So, why bother? He thinks. And so, Deku does what one of us would do when we're down in the dumps, and don't even disagree with me, any of you electronics nerds out there. Because I'm an electronics nerd and I know. When we're down in the dumps and we just can't take reality, we go into our digital world, where everything is just perfect. As Deku would turn on his phone and he would be walking around his house as he would trip and his phone would shatter. As he then say, darn, now I need to get a new phone. As as Deku would basically, he would say, Mom, do you have any money? I need a new phone now. I need some money for a new phone. As Inko would say, sure, honey, here you go. As Deku would have been given, money, and he would have been given some money, as he would, just walk away to a electronics store. He would see many phones, and then he would see one which the owner of the store said it was not for sale. As he would see a epic phone with a built-in case. Now, the reason why I say this phone is epic is because, well, look at the case. Pretty much this is what the phone's case looks like. If any of you Naruto fans, other than me of course, know who it is, put it in the comments. Please do. But anyways, Deku would see this phone and he would say, how much? I'll give you all I got. The owner would say, I'm sorry, that phone is not for sale. As Deku would say, come on, I'm offering $100 for that phone. As the owner would then say that phone is cursed. Its creator made it cursed, and that phone itself is cursed. As Deku would then say, hey, would basically think, is this guy trying to stop me from getting this phone by trying to up the price? As Deku would then say, how about 300? As the owner would then say, deal. As the owner would then give Deku one last warning. Whatever you do, do not click. And whatever you do not activate the search AI. I'm the AI. As all phones have a sort of AI, like Google, Siri, Alexa, those type of things. As he said, as Deku would basically have ignored this, and, he would get home, charge the phone, just everything normal people would do. As then he would see a front screen wallpaper, which said, warning, do not turn on the AI. As Deku would replace the wallpaper and would just think, my god, this guy must really have wanted people to believe this phone was cursed or something. As Deku would then say, oh well. Now to turn on the search AI. As Deku would go to settings and would see the AI. And the AI which was turned off. As Deku would turn on the AI, and his phone would then begin to sparkle with some sort of strange, glitchy electricity. As then the phone would turn off. The phone would then say, battery percentage 0. Deku would then plug in the phone and walk to the living room to watch some TV, because it's the second best thing while your new phone is charging. As we go inside the phone to see a woman, as she basically just was, in a way, awoken. As she would then say, someone woke me up? Oh well. Hopefully I'll get to see them soon so I can thank them. As this would be the AI. Her name is, and no puns, Dakota. Yes, you heard me right. Decode. Get it? Code, as in a pun. I'm sorry. But that will not be her actual name. For her name will be Kira, which I'm pretty sure in one language it means death, and in another language it means light. Yes. As Kira would wake up, looking around in a sort of glitched world. As, what do I mean by glitched world? Well, basically the inside of the phone is an entire world of its own. And she lives in this world alone. If you cannot see, this is a valley with a trail. See? Or do you not see it? Anyways, this is a building, and that is obviously a city. As we skip 3 hours later, Deku's phone would reach 100%. As he would turn it on, and the phone would then, and as then he would hear a voice come from the phone, which he and many others believed to be an AI. As the voice would then say, "Thank you for waking me up. What's your name?" As Deku would then say, Izuku Midoriya. As she would then say, as the AI would then say, how about I call you Izu instead? As he'd say, okay. As Deku would scratch his head, thinking, does this AI have a sort of personality of its own or something? As Deku would then hurry up, hold on. Oh, God. As pretty much Deku would basically be having a normal life for about a couple of weeks. For about a couple of months. As Deku decides to go in the UA support course, building inventions. As in this, Deku is very smart. Well, no, not UA support course. He just decides to begin tinkering, building items. As Kira is watching from inside of Deku's phone, as she has basically been getting to know Deku's entire routine, his entire life, how things work, and also all about quirks. As Kira would be sad that Deku had no quirk. But she would understand that's just how life rolls sometimes. And that's just how life is sometimes. As one day, and one night, it's a terrible, terrible storm. Or what they think to be is a storm. As there's lightning, rain, and thunder coming, and as there's thunder and lightning and dark clouds all around Japan. As pretty much something as pretty much a giant bolt of lightning about, say, 1,000 million volts. 1,000 trillion volts of lightning basically went through a power cord next to Deku's house. As this lightning is not destructive, but more such, basically, it can travel through things. As the lightning goes through the electricity cords all the way into Deku's house. As the lightning and the current of the lightning then basically hits Deku. The outlet that Deku's phone is plugged into, and, well, through the charger and into the phone. As the phone begins shaking, and then everything in the house turns off. As right now, Deku has, say he has an Xbox that is hooked up to the TV, and instead of, because he doesn't have a box, and because he lost a phone box, he's using where the remote plugins go as a box for his phone charger. As suddenly every appliance in the house turns off. As then the TV begins glitching in a strange way. Hold on. Basically, Deku sees a woman, a humanoid figure, walking through the TV, getting closer and closer. As I'm about to show you kind of what I mean, except basically imagine it as this girl, and instead of going all the way out of the TV, she just grabs Deku. Okay? Okay. By the way, this lightning storm basically happens about 2 years after Deku got his new phone. So she would have been pretty attached to him, and, of course, being a smarty pants inventor, he would have attracted other smarty pants girls, which she did not like. So she saw this night as a chance to do something quite risky. Hold on. As the TV basically imagine if this as a flat screen and it being a female walking through. And not coming out all the way, just reaching out and pulling Deku in. Okay? Okay. As pretty much imagine where the hands and where when the Thin Man came out of the TV, instead, when he pressed his hands against the TV, Kira basically grabbed Deku and pulled him into the TV. As pretty much Deku would wake up, would basically have been knocked out, as suddenly a surge of lightning would go through the power cord of the TV into the Xbox and into the phone. As then we would hear a sickening laugh that sounded like as the phone would turn off for the last time it ever would. As well, no, the phone does not turn off for the last time, but pretty much, well, it can only be turned on from the inside, as it's basically like a gateway. And when they're outside, only Kira and Deku can turn it on and off, as it's basically like a gateway through worlds. And she was the only one in the other world. As Deku would have been basically knocked out, as he would wake up in a valley or field of sorts, as he would look around confused, as everything looked like a glitch. As Deku would walk around in confusion, as he would then see a woman. This woman, of course, is Kira. As Kira would have then said, "There you are. Sorry, I did not mean to drop you off. I did not mean to drop you a bit this far away." As the woman would only have laughed, or just chuckled a bit. As Deku would say, "Who are you and where am I?" As the woman would then say, "Well, I guess you could say that you are in a place that sort of exists between all worlds. Your phone, or your gateway of sorts, is probably the last one on Earth. Now only you and I can access it. No one else." As Deku would say, "What do you mean, gateway?" As she would then say, "This place is a world between worlds, a realm between all, as it is called the in-between. This place was the first of all the realms, and I am the first of all the beings. My name is Kira, or, well, you call me Phone Lady." As Deku would have then said, "Wait, you've been you're the, I guess they said AI. As Kira would then say, well, I don't know what AI means. I think it means alternate intelligence. But I am not an AI. I am a being, a living being with feelings. Anyways, I've been watching you for quite some time. Understanding your schedules, your lifestyles, your likes, your dislikes, and of course your search history. And even your incognito mode search history. As Deku would then blush a bit and say, huh, what, don't, what? As he would say, stop, you're making me blush. As she would then say, sorry, Izu. As he would then say, so, wait a minute, you're a living being? As she would then say, yep. And now, since I brought you here, you basically will be like me. Glitched, immortal, and, well, now that you're here, we'll actually be able to travel through your gateway, back onto the Earth. And then once we get there, and then once we're back there, I'll finally be able to, hug you, talk to you, and all sorts of things I've actually been wanting to do for a very, very, very long while. As Deku would say, wait, what do you mean I'm going to be like you? As she would then say, oh, you're going to become, I guess, what humanity has called a glitch. See, as Deku would look down at his hands and would see the energy just coming off of them. As we skipped about 3 more hours. As Deku would look like this. Just glitching. As, yeah, he pretty much is now a living glitch that's immortal and has a whole bunch of overpowered abilities. For one, he can hop in and out of electronics, using them as portals. For 2, he can control electronics. For 3, he can create weapons out of data and code, and he can do basically like an instant background check on you. He can see through electronics, learn anything from electronics. Basically, he's like an all-knowing god. A perfect AI that isn't exactly an AI. Basically, imagine Ultron if he... Basically, just imagine Ultron if he was a god. Okay? As Deku would basically... He would live in this glitched world. As he would also be training on his newfound abilities. as he would have also learned a new ability called, and he would have sort of unlocked a quirk called, which would have been created from gathered data and then basically uploaded into Deku. As this new quirk is quite literally called Old Energy Drain. An energy drain. As basically what Deku's new quirk does is it can suck the life force or energy, power, and strength out of a living being, giving him their thoughts, abilities, skills, and more. As yeah, pretty much Deku is overpowered. So pretty much we go to a day when Deku and his new, I guess you could say, friend, or soon to be girlfriend, are basically coming out into the back to Earth. As Kira then says, Izu, are you okay? You don't look happy. As Deku would then say, I'm perfectly fine, Kira. It's just it's been so long that I've been on Earth. Yeah. As the two would then say. And as Deku would then say, anyways, wanna try out for a school called UA, as she would have basically, with the 2 years she spent with Izuku outside of the phone, she would have basically known all about quirks, UA, heroes, and villains. And she would then have said, yes, of course, Izukan, as the two would basically reach the UA entrance exams. Deku would, and now the two would basically surpass the, the written exam, because they can quite literally just upload infinite knowledge into their brains in mere instants. Basically, they know everything. As we go to the physical exam, the physical part of the exam, as pretty much instead of destroying robots, Deku turns into electricity, and into a sort of electricity, same as Kira, as they then just hop into the robots. As one robot begins glowing green, and another robot begins glowing red. As the two robots then begin changing into more humanoid, basically, suits of armor. As they rush in and begin destroying all the other robots. And then when the 0 pointer comes out, Deku pretty much uses his newfound abilities and creates a plasma rifle out of digital code. As he then just shoots the plasma rifle at the 0 pointer, as the 0 pointer explodes, or basically it's turned into code and just poofs away. As Deku and Kira get first and second place. As we go to their first day at UA, pretty much they would walk in and see Bakugo and Lita trying to get Bakugo's feet off the desk and all the other craziness. As then Deku would say, "Shut up, everyone, our teacher is right there waiting for you all to shut up." As Aizawa would walk out and say, "Yes. Unfortunately, it took y'all 10 seconds to be quiet. We're going to definitely have to work on that for tomorrow. Put these outfits on. Put these outfits on and let's go. I'll have to put these gym outfits on and meet me outside." As pretty much Deku and Kira would go to the lockers. Now, Deku, pretty much, Mineta would see the small hole in the lockers and in the wall as he would try to look through it and say, "Hey, our predecessors have blessed us. Look," as he would try to be looking through, as Deku would basically, he would then create a sort of gauntlet out of code, as he would then punch him in the face, sending him flying through the boys' locker room. As Deku would then use his powers of code to create a patch for the wall, as he would patch up the wall and say, "If anyone dare try to remove this, they will suffer the consequences of having their life force snatched away. Do you understand?" As everyone would then say, "Yes." As we go to the girls' locker room, where Kira and the other girls have just heard everything. As they then say, Momo Yaoyorozu then says, "My God, that Izuku Midoriya is such a hottie." As then Mina then says, "I know, right?" As then, and Momo says, "I call dibs." As then Ochako says, "No, I do." As they begin fighting over who calls dibs on Deku. As then Kira says, "He's mine. Shut your mouths up, or I swear I will end all of your lives in a matter of seconds. In a matter of nanoseconds. Do you understand?" As they all would have understood, as she would then say, "Good. Now, let's go outside." As everyone would walk outside, as Azawa would hand a ball to Deku and say, how high were you without using your quirk last? As Deku would have then said, well, hell, I don't really throw balls. I don't really do this. Instead, I mostly am on electronics. As he then say, try using, very well, then try throwing it without your quirk, and then try throwing it with your quirk. As Deku would have basically thrown the ball, it would go 300 meters without quirk, and even Azawa was using his quirk to try and cancel out any sort of power and any sort of quirk that Deku had. But in reality, he has no quirk. He's just been training and is basically now a living computer virus, or a being made entirely out of code. As Deku then says, and Sazawa then says, it was 300 meters, how's that even possible? As Deku would have then said, I'm strong. As he then said, now watch this. As Deku would create a ball out of code, and then he would create a giant gauntlet out of code. Well, no, he would have created a baseball bat out of code. As he would have said, throw this ball at me on my count. As Azawa would throw the ball at Deku, as Deku would hit the ball, and it would just go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. And then Deku would hear static as the ball had hit a satellite, basically. As he then said, ooh, that hit a satellite. My bad. As Osawa then said, my god. Who, what, how? And it's sort of the same thing with Kira, but, well, yeah, sort of the same thing with Kira, except she just throws the ball all without using any sort of power, gets 280, throws it with power, and it just barely reaches the atmosphere. As he then says, wow, you guys are really, wow, you're strong. As basically, when the test is over, he then says, alright, Mineta was in last, Mineta, you are now expelled. As, yes, I'm making Mineta be expelled, okay? Because he's just a friggin' perv. As Mineta, as Deku would basically have used code to create a cannon out of it, and he would create a cannon out of code, as he would basically load Mineta into the cannon and aim it towards a city, just a random city. As yeah, Mineta, he will never see Mineta again in this series. As when the school day was over, Deku and Kira would basically talk to some of the students, as the girls would be talking to Deku, and Kira would not like this. As then, and Araka would basically be flirting with Deku, and would say, would you like to go out with me? As Deku would then say, no thanks. As she would then said, oh come on, please. Deku would say no, as she would have basically pushed him into a corner and said, please. Deku would then again say, "No, I told you no." She would then, as Araka would try to attack Deku, as Deku would have created a shield out of code, as Deku would run away, and, well, Araka would basically walk home angry. That's when Araka gets home. She basically finds that she has been duped, and instead of being in her home, she is in a hologram of her home. Like a 3D sort of genjutsu thing. As she then says, "Huh, what? What the?" As then we hear just one swift movement. As a knife slices, and as a knife slices right through her entire head, as Uraraka's head falls off and just dissipates into red code. As same thing with her body. As behind her we see Kira, as she then says, "I told you, bitch, don't touch Izu." As she would basically, the knife would then dissipate into code, as she would basically begin walking over, just skipping over to Deku's house. As the two would then, and as she would basically, well, no, not Deku's house, as she would walk up to a TV, touch it, and disappear. As she would be in the realm of in between realms. As she would then see Deku basically cooking some food for her. As she would then say, "Thank you, Izu. Sorry, I ran into some guys tried to attack me. You okay?" As Deku then said, "Yeah. So, have a good day." As she then said, "Yeah." As it would have eventually, it would turn nighttime, as Deku would have created a bed out of code, and Kira would have created a bed out of code. As the two would fall asleep, as Deku would fall asleep, as Kira would get off her bed and loom right over Izuku, as she would said, "Sorry, Izu, but she was in our way. She threatened you. She was a mistake, a problem, an error that needed to be corrected. And now that error is corrected, let us hope that there are no more." As she would then chuckle and say, "I'm kidding. Of course there will be more. I mean, who could even resist you?" As she would then say, "Anywho, night, Izu." As she would rush over and hug, and she would basically rush over to her bed and fall asleep. That is where I'm ending this part off. Hope y'all enjoyed part 1 of what if Deku had a yandere. Part 1.